All right, squad, what is up? We are back. Another Monday, another exciting episode. I'm Andrew T. This is our fourth iteration of our podcast, whatever you want to call it.
Still unnamed.
Unnamed. If you have any ideas, type them in the chat right now. Or in the comments if you're on YouTube. Type them down.
Yeah. What we got? Just 2 zero suits and some yapping.
Exactly. Who knows? I mean, maybe in the future we'll get some big names, but as of now,
Possibly.
you're gonna have to settle for the the duo here.
Yeah, the two regulars, the 2 zero suits that not commonly heard of, even unknown sometimes.
Yeah, apparently somehow I was known and you weren't.
I mean, it is your chat. Like
True.
this is where they didn't come into Doorstop's Twitch channel and ask like, "Who are you?"
That's true. Hey, it's
But-
Ty. You better win this regional. Give us something to talk about. We're always gonna say that. That should be like our line. Like, give us a reason to talk about Zero Suit.
Please give us something, anything.
Literally. So, I want someone at Supernova to protest for Unova. What do you think of Unova as a stage?
Oh, as a stage, I was like the region. I like the region. The region's pretty cool. As a stage, I'm trying to remember what goes on in like the.
I think it's a banger.
Isn't it just like another biplat?
Yep.
Like, okay,
But Palu mains can't teleport from underneath the stage.
bro. Like,
Something...
okay, I need to figure out what material Steve gets on it, and then I'll get back to you on that.
Okay,
actually.
that's valid.
But,
I thought that stage was fire though. Like early alt counterpick to Unova. I thought it was cool. I think the platforms are like a little higher too though. So
yeah,
that's even better.
which is good. I mean,
Yes.
hey, for us hoppy types, us jumpers.
I'm not trying to get Little Mac up smashed through the platform.
Yeah, no, we already got enough of that.
It's
That
so
character has
annoying.
too much, and he
Yep.
has like nothing. But
The bottom tiers are scary.
they deserve less.
The Smash 4 treatment. They have one
Oh yeah,
like set like high tier good matchup, maybe, and then just losing matchups across the board. That was pretty lit. I enjoyed that. But getting into today's topics, obviously, if you're here, if you saw the announcements, we are going to be talking about preparing for tournaments. Not necessarily only majors, not regionals, like just everything. If you're going to locals, if you got a bracket demon, if you just want to do well, I think that would be really beneficial for me and Steven to talk about. I think there's a lot we can learn, a lot we want to share. So
I have been to a lot of tournaments.
yes. We could even go through. We could talk about like some personal, like I don't know, like if you're superstitious or anything, or if you're, you have a game day routine. I think that stuff's cool to hear as well. I think after years of going to tournaments, the superstitions kind of died down. Not that I was like super like that, but there was always like the, you wake up, is my day going well? If it's not, I'm gonna do bad in bracket. But
I am, but I am superstitious, but I'm not like.
mhm.
There's certain things like in routines that are very important for me to follow, and certain rules that I have for myself that like. But I think like all of them can be grounded into like some real kind of science, so I don't think it's like entirely. But there was like a period where I was just like wearing a shirt because it worked,
Yeah. Like AK's
like,
hoodie.
Yeah, no, see, like you can't just wear it every time because
True.
like I guess had plenty of bad tournaments in that hoodie.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't quite like work in that sense.
If you're going to a weekly, don't waste that energy on it. You know what I'm saying? If you're confident, I think that is like, it's not like you're superstitious about it, but you're feeling yourself. So we can get into this more later. If we want to go back, last week we talked, there's some Twitter drama with people. What was the topic last week again? It was Kowloon. That was pretty big.
Yeah, Kowloon was a big deal. I don't even honestly remember. I remember the drama between like Goblin and like the stats people.
Yeah.
I remember touching on that, but like, was there anything else? I didn't think that was about it.
You and your doppelganger. I think
True.
that was like
drama though. That's like hype.
Yeah. So that was last week's episode. If you are interested in any of that, check it out. The link in my YouTube. Just go to my YouTube channel. But regardless, before we get into some of the other topics, if you're coming from YouTube or if you're in the Twitch chat right now, you should comment in the YouTube video when this comes out. What do you want us to talk about? What's something that we should talk about? Should we have any particular guest you want to see? Any types of content? Just let us know in the comments.
Powerful people, we can reach out and they probably will respond to us.
Yes, even though some of you might not know us, we could pull some strings. You know what I'm saying? So
we can make things happen.
100%. But we got Supernova coming up this weekend. That is like kind of why we decided to go with the tournament prep.
Topical for a lot of people at the moment.
Very relevant,
including you.
Yes.
Not me. I will not be at Supernova.
Yeah, unfortunately. But Doorstop has been doing.
I'm so tired.
He's been helping me a little bit with not bracket prep yet because brackets are not finalized, but just some overall gameplay preparations and stuff. We'll go through that a little bit. A couple tournaments happened this weekend. A lot of regionals, I feel like. Not many, like, super big tournaments. But, Chill Out. You're actually there. You just didn't compete.
Yeah, so Chill Out, I went to the first one. Chill Out 2 was, like, a slightly bigger deal. There actually was some drama with that, actually. And I forgot to mention that. That's actually, like, decently a good thing to talk about. So, yeah, I showed up the second day. It was a 2-day event. But the reason why I showed up was because everyone in Emma's carpool got knocked out the day before. Emma didn't want to drive down alone, and so we checked I checked Pokemon tournaments happening, and on Sunday there was a Pokemon tournament happening in the old Chill Out venue. Like Chill Out 1 happened where this Pokemon tournament happened, and Chill Out 2 was literally across the street in some ballroom. Like, this works out way too well. I just get to go to the Pokemon tournament, and you go do your commentary block, and then whoever finishes first just like goes hang out at the other place, and then and so I got to go over, and as I finished up with the Pokemon tournament, they were still like, I think in losers quarters. I think I walked in near the end of Danny and Jin, which was a really good set. Banger set, yeah. Danny barely eking out game 5, but like also it's like really hyped to see Jin back after a little while of like not playing. I think he had a long break. I hope it was good for him. It doesn't seem like it hurt him too badly. He was keeping up pretty well.
Yeah, he's still insane.
Yeah, no, he's nice with it. He's very just a rock solid player. Like, I don't think those are the kind of skills that would depreciate. Like, fantastic risk management. Super good off the reactions. Like,
I like his style. It's like very unique. It's like top player-esque where like you can recognize who's playing.
I always like to describe Jin as, once you realize that this man has been playing against like Luigi for like most of his career, it all makes sense.
Yeah.
He plays against every character like it's Luigi, and like it works on Fire Emblem.
Yeah, that's literally like the game plan too.
Like every character is Luigi too. They're all some death, like ball of death, touches you once, kills you, but can't move. Because
I mean, if you're playing Aegis, sometimes it feels like that. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I mean, no, like I'm sure you like that's literally like how you feel about it after a certain extent. Like every character is just Luigi. They all can't move in perspective to you, and they all kill you in one hit.
Yeah.
And so yeah, he plays like he's like perpetually fighting Luigi, which I always enjoyed that that analogy with him. But it's like very effective. It's a very good play style. But the drama of this actually comes from the day started. He did a top 16. I don't think the tournament needed to be a 2-day event, to be clear. I think they're like aiming for something bigger and got a little under it, which like how that goes. But I think top 16 didn't need to be, because I think they finished at 8 p.m. day 1 or something like that. But the issue was that 4 out of the 16 players decided not to show up for day 2. 4 of the 16. I think Sam Worry, who was in loser side of the top 16, got floated to top 8 off of DQs entirely. One of the DQs was in winners. And all of them for varying reasons. I think Dingus got sick, so he was on the one of the ones that was DQ'd on the loser's side.
Ploopy, right? The Game & Watch.
Ploopy was the most controversial one because, from what I understand, he overslept. After like he overslept and was staying somewhere that was an hour and a half away. And that one was kind of gross because he didn't seem too like upset or kicking himself about it. He seemed like pretty like, yeah, I wanted to go and like watch this TV show with a friend anyway or something. And the TOs had paid for his flight.
No.
Which I just could not believe that. That to me is just wild.
What?
Like that kind of like if I miss an event that I paid for entirely, and something on that, like I still feel bad about the organizers for it, especially because like I'm a name, right? Like people like show up to like I DQ'd out of Chill Out. I was signed up originally, and I felt bad about letting them know long before seating was even up that I wasn't going. I felt like to a certain degree like a letdown on that, and I would have been like paying for it entirely myself, driving entirely by myself, driving back the next day entirely by myself. I just could not imagine like it's like stealing almost. Like it's just like straight up misuse of like the funds. Like like cool, I'll take this flight to go hang out with this friend I'm staying with an hour and a half away and like fuck your tournament. Yeah, that a lot of players kicked. I think Danny was probably the most vocal about how lame that was.
Yeah,
that's the best word I can use to describe that.
I didn't see any like tweets or anything. I didn't even know there was drama like this about it.
Yeah, so Kevlar was the TO, and I think Kevlar and a lot of Kentucky TOs, like the TOs were like upset about it. A couple of the Kentucky players like subtweeted about it, and I know Danny just like straight up like replied to Bloopy on something, and you know how Danny is, he didn't mince words. But yeah, so I think I forget who the other two players are just DQ'd. I think Krispy Kreme DQ'd. That had to have been something happening. Chris always shows up to play. I think Chris got sick too or something like that.
Yeah.
And I don't remember who or what happened with the fourth player who DQ'd. But yeah, a lot of people were very like not happy about this. It's like quite literally the top 16 became the top 12. And I think Ploopy is the only one that did it in winners. And yeah, that one was like particularly egregious just because of like how he had been treating this event that he had been paid for to go and play out at.
Yeah.
So that was like a little bit of that drama. I don't even know if there's a ton to talk about on it. If I'm being entirely honest, like I don't even know what you say. That's just like fucked up. Like TO's like everyone loves to be like a friend of the TO like online, but like. And then like, you go and you treat your TO like this. Like, please keep in mind whenever you're like in a tournament. This is more for like players that are names. Like, especially if you are a name.
Yeah.
But like, you being a name is a big deal to tournament organizers. It's like they are depending on you to show up and play. Like that's like their tournament. Like you are highlights. You are things that they can put in the next trailer that they can advertise. They're making zero money off.
Yeah.
There's like. This is all a passion project, them trying to grow the scene so that you get bigger events and you get flown out to more events because they have more funds to do this stuff. Like they're all like totally passion projecting on this stuff. If you can't go to something, that's fine, but like don't take money and then just like not use it.
Yeah.
There's a couple other examples of like stuff right that has happened. I know a couple commentators that are like infamous for flaking and stuff, and like I won't name names on that one because I'm less sure about it, although I do know a couple. Shout out to Scrubbed Out Odyssey Esports. Exactly, Scrubbed Out does a great TO, does great work. I would never lie to like Scrubbed Out about like an event I'm going to. If I'm not going to the event, I'm going to try to let him know as far in advance.
Oh yeah.
If it's like right, like if he gave me any money to go to that, I would refund. And certainly if I showed up to the event. I'm showing up for the entire time, barring like some family crisis, right? Like that's the moment you're paid to do something, that's your job.
Yeah,
like,
I think the Midwest TOs are all just like great people, and they like you could tell how passionate they are by the events that they run. So I always try to like at least like if I bust her out or something, I'm a little frustrated. I'll still like bare minimum, go up to the TO and be like, hey, this event was sick. Like, thanks for having me. Like, even if they just invited me or something, like that's definitely something to show appreciation for. And
Anthran, there was a tournament called Chill Out this last weekend that I showed up to, and 4 out of the top 16 players in the top 16 didn't show up for day 2. And I think like most of them have valid reasons, but I know one of them for sure just said he overslept and he was a player that had been given money to be flown out.
Yeah.
And then like I don't think he had any interest in like playing the tournament the entire time. It seemed like, from what I understand, like if you're staying an hour and a half away at a friend's place, like you took the money so you can go hang out with your friend and not like so
I mean,
you could show up to this tournament.
that's definitely a bad look, and you
like
I'm sure Plupi will lose opportunities in the future, because players of like this skill range, I guess, like you need to take these opportunities. Like that's how you become like a bigger name and stuff. So
no, that's like gonna shoot him in the foot. Like I don't know what any TOs are gonna like. He's gonna get blacklisted. Like
and then
right?
think
like,
about all the times like, oh, like, hey, I didn't register in time. Like, can you throw me in this? Like, why would anybody go out of their way for someone? Either way, we can move past that. I think we all know, like, we don't want to start throwing shade or anything because, it's not our place. But other
if
events,
the shake is thrown, sometimes it might be something to talk about next week.
Hey, true. Hey, true, bro. We'll be
a podcast yet.
yes. We had Defend the North with Light catching the W, Mr. E showing up and playing. I love seeing our duo.
I didn't watch any of the tournament, but from what I understand, like obviously you'd expect Light to win that tournament, the players going up, but it was not like easy for him. From what I understand, he beat Guy, who has like gotten the edge on him like the last couple of times that they had played, and that's obviously like a really tough matchup for Fox too. So like, and Guy's like, by the way, if any guys have played Guy, some Luigi's like are really good at the 0 to death combo. He's insane. He is not good at the 0 to death combo. He is good at 0 to death comboing. Any stray hit Guy hits you with is going to kill you.
Yeah.
I can't even describe how. Like you just have to see it happen. Like he improvises 0 to deaths that like shouldn't be possible. It's not just like the down throw stuff. Like no, he just gets a random stray hit and somehow knows how to convert them to the whole thing. He's a very, very scary player. And especially if I were a Fox player, right?
Did you see that clip?
Oh, or the one where he's 0 to death Light and then Light 0 to death back. That was that was a great example of it. Like, because he didn't get that off a down throw. He got that off like trading nares or something.
Yeah.
And from what I understand, also like Mr. E, like Mr. E got second, but he 3-0'd Light the first set of grands. That's not something that happens. Like we don't see like Light get 3-0'd very often. I don't think people talk about like the first set of grands as often. Like I think if like Mr. E 3-0'd him in winners finals or something, a lot more people would be like talk about like, oh my gosh, like 3-0 sent the losers.
Yeah.
But that's like it's the same result. It's not often that like someone just 30s Light into a bracket reset.
I do
think
like
that's probably some really good Smash to watch there.
Oh yeah, for sure. I think Mr. E is definitely a player. Like if you ever see his YouTube channel or like even his Twitter, like he is VOD reviewing. He'll post his VOD reviews and stuff. A VOD review. He grinds a lot. Like I respect him a lot. I think he's been doing it for
super money matcher at tournaments.
Yes, yeah. And the one time I fought him, it was like before he had like any NES experience. I like barely beat him in a money match. He's like, "You down to go again?" Like,
oh yeah,
he's running that back. But
not to like be on my whole thing. I had a very similar experience, but it was for a much longer period of time. It was that that sequence on loop for a couple of times. Not this last collision, but the collision before that.
Yeah.
He did get me. He did get me eventually. But no, he's the kind of guy. If you beat him, he wants to sit down and run it back until he figures it out.
I think that goes into play with like tournaments as well. Like if he loses to you, like he's not gonna stop trying until he wins. I think that is a very good example with Light too. Like I know he's fought Light a decent amount of times, and I know that he's put a lot of work into that. So it's good to see him get a set win because that's like the start of making it more competitive and going back and forth, and then
First one's always the hardest. I don't know if it was his first one, but
Yeah.
the more
I
you
mean,
do it, the easier it gets.
Yeah, for sure. But aside from that, yeah, Light won that tournament. I think there was another event. I think it might have been in like Japan or something, but I don't really know. I didn't pay.
I barely pay attention to
Yeah.
events in the States.
Or no, it was the European one that Bloom won.
Oh, I actually didn't know about that.
Yeah, I don't know too much about it, so I won't. We could probably skip over that one. Bloom
Sorry,
gets
you're
another W. The Steve. Who's that Steve? Does anyone in chat know?
I was gonna ask about it because Gluto's recently not, for the first time in like, I think in all of Ultimate's history, not the best player in Europe, like officially ranked. Like I think the Steve was ranked higher.
Wow. No, not that one, Anthony. It's the other one.
But I don't know the Steve's tag, which I should, right? Because that's like a massive, that's a massive feat, right? Like that's 5+ years of dominance at this point that he brought to an end. There was a period where like Luto had an infinite money glitch going on. It seemed like.
Yeah, honestly.
And yeah, definitely not just the Steve player that did it. I think it was Bloom is like the first player that really started, I think, challenging Gluto's dominance, and so it doesn't surprise me that that's also one of the players that's now keeping up with. If Bloom gets a win in Europe, I'm not surprised. That's
yeah.
Like,
oh yeah.
I'm also surprised it wasn't the Steve. So
I love that Europe over time has just gotten better and better. They are traveling more than like almost anybody. Like straight up. Yeah. Like they're at Smash Factor. They're going to Supernova. Like, have any of them ever gone to Japan besides Gluto? I don't know. I feel like Siski might have for some reason.
Mr. R definitely has.
Oh yeah.
Mr. R loves going to. I think Mr. R just loves Japan, which I mean, like, I don't know many people that went to Japan and didn't love it. So I mean, it checks out. But like,
yeah,
I think the only person I know who have ever had anything to say negative about Japan was Neo. And that's because he lives there. I've never had any tourists say anything bad.
Yes, agreed. That's news too. Neo moving out of Japan to Indonesia.
Neo is moving. He's moving to Indonesia. I'm guessing it's like to stay with his girlfriend, as well as also he mentioned like he has a scholarship opportunity somewhere.
Yeah, that's huge. Big props to him. I think it'll be good because I know that like school, like moving, having good structure. I'm sure he has this sponsorship too, which I'm sure helps him a lot. But yeah, I'm happy for him. I'm glad that he's making big moves in life, and I know that Smash, there's not that much money. I think we could all say it. We all know it.
Not that much is something, dude. I made a recent bank deposit. I had a whole bunch of cash lying around, and so I deposited at a bank. That's like the last 3 years worth of like my winnings. I'm not gonna drop the number, but it was disappointing.
Well, I can tell you the content side of it is not much better.
It's not much better.
It's definitely
we're currently when we calculate 20 cents an hour at the moment.
Oh yeah. I just got monetized on YouTube, and we're going through. If we split this 50-50, we might have enough for a pack of gum.
Yeah, that we could, like 25-cent candy at like the gas station.
Yeah, just a gumball. Yeah, just one gumball.
I'll settle for a Tootsie Pop. Those are gas.
Anywho, we will move on because
we don't have as much time this week.
Yeah. We're kind of just running through some stuff. Let's say hi to chat real quick. What's going on? Legacy
06 in there.
Mav, what's good? Abe, Ty, Anthran, Pablo Duckman. What's good, everyone?
Peebus Griffin. That's a great name.
Mars 33rd seed at Supernova.
That is 1000% intentional.
That is awesome.
Side tangent. As much as we love TOs, and TOs got we were talking about some shit that TOs had to deal with in Kentucky that they definitely shouldn't have had to deal with. But TOs be rigging brackets on purpose. We know about you guys.
Oh yeah.
This shit is so like the 33rd seed. That's not an accident. Y'all knew what you were doing.
I will agree with this one though. Like if he was in that range, you might as well make him 30.
No. What probably happened is like, okay, we're looking at this. He's probably somewhere between top 32 and top 48 as a seed or something like that. And they're like, wait a minute, I know where we can put him.
Yeah, well, someone definitely would have made the tweet if he was like 34th seed. They would have been like, the TOs have a chance to.
Yeah, missed an opportunity, you know.
Yeah.
But even though like one of the other ones I can think of was that year that Leo lost to Onan and Onan ended up winning. That SmashCon to me also had insanely rigged seeding. Like it's just like every single time there's a dark horse, you always put him in the first seeds bracket.
Yeah.
Like Onan at that point was like a very unknown like amount of skill. He had one combo breaker, but like previous before that, he was like pretty unknown outside of Michigan, so like no one knew quite how good he was. Every single time that happens, TOs are like, throw to the first seed path. Let's just see what happens, right? And you know we saw what happened. Like we know about TOs. We're familiar with your game. As someone who's been the first seed, I like has always had to play like the up and coming 13-year-old Kazuya player. Like I know what's going on here. All right.
I don't want to throw shade, but it's kind of sad that we relied on Meister saving the tournament with Sora.
We didn't ask him to do all that.
Nah. Wait, do you remember Goblin's tweet where it was like so and so saying he got this after so and so saying
saying he got like Meister saying he got that after Gluto said he got it. After
that
Leo
was
said he got it.
So funny.
The hero we deserve. Yeah, no, that stuff's always great.
So if we're going through, we want to talk about practicing for a tournament. I feel like in general we should start small, maybe go into, talking about majors down the road, like, later. Before we even go to our first tournament, like, I personally think that no matter what skill level you are, like, you could have a good time at tournaments and you could learn a lot just going to a tournament. I think it's more about acclimating yourself to the environment. So in terms of preparing for that, I think you just got to full send. Don't overthink that. Do you have any insight on that aspect of it?
So bracket stress is like a very real thing. People get really, really tense about it. Especially in my experience, the more people play Smash like online, and the longer they go without entering a bracket, the more stressed they are about doing it.
Mm-hmm.
I think like the more like because I even experienced this in Pokemon, where you're just like, I like being like really good online and like playing a whole bunch of stuff, but I want to go to a tournament and like be like really disappointed about finding out where I am in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah.
That's like, you got to get that out of the way. It's just like getting used to going to your offline brackets. Incredibly important. You got a local, you're stressed about going to it, you think you might not do that well, you don't want to be an O3. Who cares? Just go.
Mm-hmm.
Go and get it out of the way, because you're like delaying an opportunity to fix bracket nerves, because the only way that I know to fix about them, like for sure, is to just do it a million times.
Yo, Devoted, thank you for the sub, by the way. Goat.
Thank you, Devoted.
Hope you're doing well, brother.
And so when you are stressed about like a bracket, it's also not like a one-time thing. So like I was stressed about going to my locals for a while, and I just like been starting out because they were like the one thing I got to go to. They were like a really big deal.
Mm-hmm.
Like I really want to, like, I'm not gonna get to play till like next week, whatever, right? Like I'm really like stressed about like how I'm gonna do at this local. And then
back-to-back subs. Thanks, Matt.
Back to back. We got a train started going.
We got a train started. Might as well keep it running.
Oh, that's Maddie. Yeah, that's shout outs to the Fear Social Media. Appreciate you guys.
Matt's the guy.
Yeah. And so, but then like I was like, okay, I got it over with. I went to enough like local brackets, just like feels like another weekly and stuff like that. Then you go to a monthly, and you're like, I'm really stressed about this because like like monthlies are a lot less often. Like
oh my, Legacy with 3. The sub.
Oh, we got a train going.
We gotta do something, bro.
You're currently my favorite Cincinnati Falco player. I don't think Justin's subbed. So you're beating out the other ones.
Legacy, you're my favorite Falco.
That's what I'm saying.
Anywho, let's just do a surprise episode some other time. Wait, oh my gosh, Anthron with the sub as well.
Anthron, thank you so much.
You guys are goated!
On Anthron.
Wait, remember how I was talking, we'd have enough for a gumball? Well,
No, dude, we got so many gumballs. We're like
dude,
just.
I'm gonna get the whole machine right here.
Oh yeah, that's
I'm gonna just.
that we're
You guys are so lit. Anywho,
y'all are awesome. Thank you so much.
this whole section's chalked. Oh my!
YouTube is gonna be so mad. They're gonna be like,
Oh my God!
"Oh, we got AIM SSB,
What
the sub."
You guys are going crazy right now. We might be able to.
Gifted
just
5.
This is insane. Okay, you know what? We gotta come up with something. Steven's gonna come over. When's it?
Okay.
When's it again? It's the 18th.
Pokemon Worlds weekend, so 2 weekends from now. Looking like the 16th through the 19th. That's the time period we're looking at.
Okay, so the 16th through the 19th. When he's not when we are not watching Pokemon, we're running some skits. We're gonna surprise stream. Who knows? But we're gonna celebrate. Cause what the heck, guys? Thank you.
Y'all are awesome. Well, welcome to the stream, Quasi. No, this is sick.
This is
I forgot what I
crazy.
was going to talk about.
Yeah. Okay. Anywho.
Bracket nerves, right? Yeah. And so bracket nerves like come back, like like the higher level of a tournament you go to, and so like it takes like a lot of monthlies to like start being stressed about monthlies, right? Like at some point you like realize they're not a big deal, and then like your regionals, same thing. You're really stressed about regionals.
Mm-hmm.
The only way to get that out of the way is you gotta start going to enough regionals that you start realizing, like internalizing that there's just like the stress, at least for me, has always come from like I don't know when my next opportunity to go to this will be.
Mm-hmm.
And so I start putting a whole bunch of mental stress on myself about like making this like this one singular moment that I have to perform, and that's a horrible idea. You should like you don't need to like shouldn't be thinking about that. And it was really hard for me to ever like teach myself to not think like that until I started going to a lot of things. Majors were my problems with this because there was a period where I was like only going to like one major a year, and each one felt like maybe the last one I go to,
like
for
the Super Bowl.
Major.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, right. Like, and so you get so stressed about it, and like I performed really badly at a lot of my first few majors.
I found it really hard when I went to my first major. It was like, I was living with my parents, and it like they don't fully understand it. So it was kind of hard to like, I have to perform well or else like, they probably won't let me do this again. Like, it's just another added layer of stress.
Do they like know the expenses required for it too? Or yeah, that's tough.
I will not lie to my parents. So like,
and then, so then they're like, is this like a whole thing like a waste of money and stuff like that? Yeah. So that's like even more external stress that you did not need.
Yeah, but we're making it all back on this stream, apparently.
Yeah, no, this is like easy. Thank you for that. Absolutely, Calvin. Calvin was one of my students. He was asking me for some tips yesterday. Always happy to help out. I got a lot of people I'm helping out this week. This is a lot of people are prepping for Supernova.
Yeah. Hey, the Zero Suits gotta rise up. Are there any non-Zero Suits you're helping?
Yeah, there's actually a Min Player. That I mean, you know him. He's the Ohio one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you like not supposed to tell me?
I mean, I don't know. I don't know if he wants to like people to know that. So
that's fine.
I'm leaving it out there.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like there's a lot of others. Like I'm very booked this week, which is this is cool. It's awesome. I love helping people out.
Yeah, when you think you're getting a break, that's when I text you like 5 paragraphs. Hey, so how do I deal with this? I'm practicing
That's the thing. Smash is very frustrating for me at the moment, but talking to us about Smash isn't, and helping other people succeed is never frustrating for me. I love doing that.
Mm-hmm.
If I quit Smash, I would never quit coaching. That's like for sure.
Yeah.
And loving the podcast series. We're loving you, Tamago. I think it's Tamago. I don't know.
Goat. Brazil Zero Suit, by the way.
Brazilian. I love learning about Zero Suits in new places.
Drop a link for Doorstop's class. We're here right now.
I mean, yeah, sort of. This is kind of is. I have a Metafy. I don't plan on having a Metafy much longer. That does not mean I'm not going to continue coaching, though. I'll be coaching at all the same rates. I'm just trying to leave the Metafy platform. I've been really bad. I should have left the Metafy platform like 2 months ago at this point, but I just forget.
It's bad. You are very good at conveying information, though. On top of you being like really smart,
I don't think I'm a particular, like, I don't think I'm like particularly genius. I think I'm a very good player that's extremely articulate
Mhm.
and also very like excited to help people. Like if I were like um recommend myself, it's because I'm very uniquely articulate. There's a lot of people who are as good as me or better, but they do not verbalize like things as well as I do, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Um, but I mean that's why I'm here. I think I talk good. So like, um, but yeah. So like when I did I tell you the story about like the first time I made it out of pools at a major? I definitely told you the story. I don't know if I've told chat the
Was it the
story.
SmashCon one?
The SmashCon one, yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead. Go
So
ahead.
yeah, majors I had been going to like one a year for since starting like since like 2017. I think I had like CEO that year. I think I had SmashCon in 2018. And then in 2019 was the first year where I got to go to two majors. One was Prime Saga, and that was just probably the worst example of like external stress that affected me. And it's like up to this point, like I'd only gone to like one major a year. I never made it at a pools at any of them. I got close a couple times. I think I got close to CEO. I got less close at SmashCon. I think it was one off from CEO. But and when I got the Prime Saga opportunity, I got the Prime Saga opportunity by making it in as a Zero Suit poll. Like they had the compendium.
Mhm.
And so a whole bunch of people like donated money to help get me there and like voted, and I was
Oh,
under
that's
so much like external pressure, like in my own head, like I have to perform, and it was like my worst major ever. I think I went 2-2.
Dang.
And like even when I was like significantly worse player, my major like placements were a lot better. And it was like all that external stress. SmashCon was the next major I went to, and I had all that external stress on me
Mhm.
still. And I was like, I know I'm good enough to like get out of pools in a major. Like I'm being seeded to like constantly at this point. I was like well above the skill threshold to be able to do this.
Mhm.
But I was like, just the fact that I hadn't done it was like its own degree of mental block. And I vividly remember getting to my pool, being the first person to check in, and then waiting with Sam the Inkling as I'm just like hanging out, waiting to be called for about 30 minutes until I like asked if something's up, and I found out that I had been DQ'd to losers. Um, and I was like, "What?" They're like, "Yeah, we've been calling you the entire time." I was standing next to the TO desk. I was the first person to check in,
Oh my gosh.
and they just like it was like SmashCon. If anyone's ever been there, is insanely loud. It's like very plausible that they were yelling, and I just missed it. But like I wasn't hiding. I was like right there, visible.
Mhm.
And I was so like angry about it that all of my stress vanished, and I felt really, really, really bad for that Bowser I had to play round one. That was it was a rough day to be that Bowser because I think he had just lost to like the 1 seed of the pool anyway,
Mhm.
and so he's like supposed to play the guy who just lost to the 2 seed, which was me, but instead he got me. So that poor guy I think had a terrible tournament. But
So unfortunate.
uh, yeah, I like completely ripped through like the entire loser side of that pool. It was like bad. Like I was destroying everybody, and all of my stress was gone. I don't recommend this is the way you get rid of your bracket nerves, but being mad helps you forget about like like I just didn't care about the tournament anymore. I was like, I want to go home. I'm so over this shit. It was the greatest thing for my nerves that ever happened to me.
That's awesome.
uh, and then the next day, I proceed to like win like 4 or 5 sets of losers. It was a
I,
crazy long
I
run.
think you were the
Like,
highest placing Ohio player
yeah, and I
after
started
getting DQ'd. Yeah.
after getting DQ'd round one, and it was like
Dude.
my first time making out of pools at a major.
Mhm.
I remember losing to Daybreak like for 97. I was like, I got destroyed game one. I'm bad against Wolf. I was always bad against Wolf.
Mhm.
Game two, he 0-to-deaths me, and then like I start bringing it back, kind of, sorta ish. Not really. Like I'm still like basically down like a whole stock. And then I realized something. I realized that he was nervous. And I was like, this is so funny. It was like the strange, most like zen moment while I'm playing. It's like, this guy cares about this tournament.
Mhm.
I don't at all. And
Yeah.
I'm playing Charizard and I'm at 150%. Right? Like there's a lot of power in not giving a fuck. Like, and yeah, the lack of, but like that was like a great example of how like I think more than anything that set against Daybreak was like a fantastic example of like what happens when you put two like players that were probably like relatively equal skill level at the time, and you put one in a situation where he feels like he has to perform because it's a huge deal to him, and then another guy who just does not give a fuck. And just seeing what happened, it was really, really bad. He just completely fell apart.
Oh my gosh.
By like the rest of that set, like the moment like he was on the threshold of winning, he just fell apart, and like it was like he was really good against Pokemon Trainer. Like by all like stat numbers, he should have won. I'm terrible against Wolf. He's really good against Pokemon Trainer. Like the next time we played, he like destroyed my Pokemon Trainer.
Yeah.
But like he just had no stress, and I had like he had all the stress, and I had none of it. I just like up to that point entirely, I just did not care. And so what you got to deal with to deal with bracket nerves, the most important thing is you got to show up. Show up, get it out. You're going to lose to your first couple of tournaments, and nerves are probably going to be really bad. It's fine. What you're going to realize, and you need to internalize this to your brain, is when like you lose, it is not the single defining moment in your entire life. Your Smash skill is not defined by the single one placing at all. Like they're called weeklies because there's another tournament the next week, right? Like, and they're called monthlies because there's another tournament the next month, and they're called regionals because there's a bajillion regionals. And I don't have one for majors, but like there's majors happen, right? Like, like all the time.
I mean, majors happen pretty often too.
Pretty, especially these days. Y'all don't understand how frequently it is. Like in Smash 4, we had like one major a month.
And they were all in California.
We were all in California. Yeah, like Midwest had like one major. It was Big House, and that was it. We had one major a year. Frostbite wasn't even like a thing until like 2017. Well, I think it was there at Frostbite. I'm trying to remember the first year of Frostbite, but like it wasn't even a major until like
no, I think it started as a regional.
It was a regional. I definitely remember it. Yeah.
So, yeah, but I know we had like the main ones were like CEO back then, SmashCon, and Big House.
Yeah, and it's all the Melee ones.
Yeah, all the Melee ones.
We were the side project.
Yeah, but our storylines were pretty fire. I'm not gonna lie.
No,
unfortunately,
storylines of gas.
We shouldn't get into that.
We should not get into that because a lot of the main characters are not great subjects.
Yeah, awkward.
Genesis, Genesis when it came back, that's another one.
So
also in California.
Yeah, I think learning how to play in tournaments is super important. And one valuable thing that I learned was that if I'm feeling nerves, like towards the start of, I'm nervous for playing in tournament, whatever, I would always like try to like get rid of them. But I feel like it's more important to learn how to like play through it. Like, I know that my nervous habits are X example, and I feel like once you're aware and you already know how to like almost get rid of habits, or like just having that awareness, you can get rid of those things easier or like minimize them as much as possible. And
because at some moment you're going to be like, even if you like get used to like the pre-bracket nerves, like that's something that like you stop dealing with. Nerves aren't going to be something you stop dealing with for the rest of your life. At some point, you're going to be playing MKLeo at his peak, and you're going to get it down to last stock at like game 3, and then your mind is going to completely blank, and you're going to get 0 to death. Not that happened to me, but like that's like something that's going to happen to you at some point. Like you're going to feel it, like in your hands, in your body. It's like it's going to come back, and the moment you're about to do the biggest thing in your entire life, because in your mind it's the biggest thing that's ever going to happen to your entire life, and you're never going to get a chance to repeat it. Which I haven't gotten a chance to beat Leo to speak, but like I got plenty of chances to do other things that I capitalized on.
I had the pleasure of fighting Leo when he first brought Joker back.
I remember LNBM.
First streamed set playing Joker again.
And you got the Debuzz treatment.
I got destroyed. Straight up. And now it's like at the time it was like one of the most viewed sets of the tournament.
I didn't really realize that. I'm so sorry, man.
Yeah, because like that day wasn't like the final day, so like, what other sets are people gonna watch on YouTube? They see MK Leo Joker.
At least you could be like, it's not like people wanted to see you lose. Everyone was just so excited to see the go back.
Yeah.
You got to be like a vessel of hope for all of everyone out there.
Yeah.
Which is like. It sucks when it happens that way, but
yeah,
it's not so bad.
I think so. There's one more thing I want to mention since we're talking about this. We can get into like the specifics of like prepping for bracket, I guess. Like this, I know this is more the mental side of it, but one thing. So I was playing it. It was Big House. I don't remember which one, but Cosmos was there, and I told him. So I didn't play the game for like a week before this tournament, and I was like, hey, like I feel like nervous. Like I've been playing this game for so long, and I feel like nervous because I haven't played recently. And he told me, he said, you can only control how you play, or like, you know, of the things that you can control, you should just try to play the best based on your condition at the moment. Because that's the only thing you can control. Like, if you woke up and you didn't sleep well, like, you gotta still move past that and try to play your best at, like, with that condition. And you cannot control how good your opponent's playing. You can't control how bad they're, like, if you're playing bad and you fight someone who is playing worse, like, you can still win. And like the same way, you know, if they're playing super well, you could be playing better or you could be playing worse. Like,
there's also a certain amount of peace I think you gotta have with when your opponent's playing better. I think way too many people see themselves as like anime characters and everyone else is some like unmoving skill level that should always be constant. And it's like, I couldn't beat them this week. I fell short. This is clearly below standard because I always beat this guy and like ignore the fact that might have been like the best day of this good guy's entire life so far. Sometimes you just run into someone on their best day of their entire life.
Yeah.
And you just gotta be okay with that.
And when you feel like that's happening a lot, maybe you need a little bit of introspection. I've been there. I know I have. Because, like, the things that I've been doing this week, I guess we can kind of, like, move into this, too. So I've been playing the game, trying to just get, like, overall better. And that there's a lot of things that are matchup specific, too. But, you know, grinding, consciously trying to work on something. Like, you know, for this example, it's getting back the, like, mid-range Zaire. Like, why is Zaire so good? Because the threat. I'm sure, like, if you've heard Steven talk about Zero Suit, this is something he said 1,000 times. The threat of Zaire is better than the actual move.
Yes.
So
the threat of, if you play any character in chat, whatever your most broken option is that everyone complains about, the reason why that move is broken at high level is always because of the threat, not because of the actual thing. The possibility of something is always so much stronger than the actual doing it.
Yeah.
But any broken tool.
Yes. So I'm trying to focus on that, practice against different characters, just trying to be conscious about it. And I forget what the original thought was.
I mean, leading into your practice this week, right?
Yeah, I feel like I had a deeper point, but yeah, we're trying to
say things.
Actually, no, I remember it. So these are things like, you know, grinding at someone, recording even though it's Wi-Fi, I don't care because there's still things to learn online. And Steven right now has a completely different outlook on it because he was fighting Wi-Fi Steve. But
I don't like Wi-Fi. That's but it's not like about the right. Like I was playing for somebody else, which is like that wasn't like playing for me. But like a lot of people, right? So like, let's say I was playing for me, and I get like really upset about like how like some like Wi-Fi set goes, and like I don't want to look at this because this is Wi-Fi, and I was losing to a whole bunch of things that like I would have reacted to and beaten offline. And even if that's true, right? Like it's not like an ego thing. Like straight up, like that might like be like a true statement. You wouldn't have lost to this. The goal is not. What's the useful information here is not like, was I able to beat this or not? It is to create a visual example of the interactions you're going to have to learn how to play. Right? Like you get to. It's like creating your own VOD to review. And so if you're recording that, you get to create a visual example for yourself of like, all right, Steve is minecarting at me and I am short hopping. I'm not committed to anything. What are my best options here, right? You get like, I'm struggling in this interaction a lot, or I don't have a plan for this interaction. I now have a visual example that I can look at and like map things out off their practicality. And that is the heart of like creating your own VODs to review. Not everyone has capture cards and stuff like that, but even if you have to like look through like the awful like Smash Ultimate replay system, like I worked with worse than Smash 4. I use whatever I got, right?
The
but
flip phone.
not quite that bad.
Yeah, so things like that, if you can record. So I've been going back, and I first of all have a Discord with all the matchups, place to put notes down, different things, and it's just to stay organized. I think that's really beneficial in for the future. But
It's your Word doc, or
yeah, exactly. So going back, watching, I like to watch at like 0.5 speed. I think that's like just something I've been doing that I've been getting a lot out of.
I always watched at 0.5 speed. I do it less these days, but that's because I'm more confident in my ability to pick up details on the spot. But like I always try to stress, like the reason why VOD review is so important is because VOD review is the exact skill that you are trying to apply, like when you're playing Smash in the moment, right? Like when you're playing Smash, you are attempting to on the spot live review someone at live speed. You're trying to understand what is happening, what interactions you're winning, what interactions you're losing, what you should start doing about the interactions you're losing, and how you keep forcing the interactions that you're winning. Right? Like that's the exact thought process you should be having while you're playing Smash.
Mm-hmm. And
so like VOD reviewing, I can't stress enough, is like the opportunity to do that at like 0.5 times speed. And you could do it. You can not just 0.5 times speed. You can slow it down. You can go back. You can like keep like flipping back through it, right? Whereas like in a moment, you can't catch everything in one go. But the more you do VOD review, the better you're gonna be. It's the most direct way to practice how to think while playing the game, because you're just practicing getting in that mindset and identifying like the certain things.
So VOD reviewing, I guess, like, we got the explanation, but if we're doing all these things, we're practicing VOD reviewing. The one thing I wanted to point out is that while I am doing this for Supernova, I kind of started like last week. This is something that isn't like, it should not be just for a tournament, like straight up. And I know that we're both guilty of kind of being lazy. Like if we can get away with not practicing,
I feel like disrespected. You're underestimating.
Yeah, well, he never practices, so. Anywho, I think
these days.
Yeah. I think when you surround yourself, if you go to more regionals or more majors, as you get better, you're gonna have to like you're not gonna be able to get away with things. Like no way these top players are getting away with doing the same things. Like it doesn't matter who you are. But that's, a thing for another time. I do think that this stuff is important to do. Like, if you're really serious about, like, getting really good, I think that, personally, I think that is the path I would take, except doing it all the time instead of just 2 weeks before a major. And that's what a lot of people did for Coinbox. That's why you see these players get super good.
Like Shiny Mark, like, we all hate to admit it, but Wi-Fi does, in fact, make you better. Like, the best players right now were the best players in coin boxes. Like Shiny Mark is a really good player right now. You know where he started? He started in coin boxes. Right? Yeah. Like Sonic's is contender for the best player in the world. He started on coin boxes. Spargo started on coin boxes. It's I mean not just on coin boxes, just Wi-Fi tournaments in general. But and I think it's a really good point. Like that you're like you started this for SmashCon, right? Like SmashCon was like the inspiration, but this is you are taking a long-term view of this and knowing that SmashCon is not the singular moment that all this practice is culminating to. If this doesn't, like, if SmashCon ends up being a bad tournament for you, this practice was not all for naught.
Yeah.
Because there is more tournaments after SmashCon, and that should help you take the stress off of your performance at SmashCon. SmashCon is but another step in the journey of your improvement. The improvement is not to get to the destination of a good placement at SmashCon.
Yeah.
Agreed. I don't know about you. I'm rooting for like an AT win at SmashCon. I don't know if you think you're winning at SmashCon, right? Like, but like one day you want to be that guy who could potentially win SmashCon, right?
Yeah.
Like you want to be going to that tournament, and you recognize that's like probably not you now. At the very least, it's not me now, right? Like I'm not the guy who's going to SmashCon to win it.
Yeah.
And so why are you so stressed about like what placement you get at SmashCon if at one day you want to be first and you're not getting first this weekend? And so you need to set your you need to start thinking bigger picture, and that this is just another moment for me to get more information about like how I perform in stress under like stress situations and what I need to work on to improve in these stress situations, and how do I perform against the best players in the world that I
Yeah.
won't like get to play super regularly. And so that in future tournaments I can be more of a contender to place even higher.
Yeah.
Right? It is not like all of this practice is so that I can get like 16th at SmashCon as opposed to, or like 13th at SmashCon as opposed to like 33rd or something
Yeah.
like that, right?
Same
Like
outcome financially, that's for sure.
yeah, right. Like at the end of the day, like I used to listen to like actually I talked to a lot of my players, my students like this. I was getting worried because it sounds um like demeaning in a sense where like it definitely sounds like, well, if you weren't like going to win the tournament, right, then like why do you care? But like what I try to stress is like if your goal is to win the tournament one day and you're upset because you went 3-2 last week and now you went 1-2 this week or something,
Yeah.
you're like upset about the placement, but you would have been happy if you went 3-2, like why or something, like 13th is the exact same place as 9,473rd in the grand scheme of our dollars, right?
Yeah. I mean, there is
like
a factor of like, if you have any platforms that could help and like opportunities and stuff, but
yeah, to like to an extent, like there's like other things, but like that's only even true at like the major level, right?
yeah.
Like 13th at a major like gets people like to notice you or something.
Oh
13th
yeah,
at your
that's what I
local,
was
who cares,
thinking.
right?
Yeah.
Like they're like whenever I talk to people about like their locals, like
Oh yeah.
there is zero difference between 4th and 9 billion.
Mhm.
Like the only difference between 3rd and 9 billionth is like $2.
Yeah.
The difference between 2nd and 9 billionth is like $18.
Mhm.
Right? Like at the end of the day, if you're not getting first, then you got things to work on. And it's like that's the long term goal, and you should not be stressed about like how you're placing until that's like achievable for you. And it's like completely all right for that to not be achievable wherever you are in the exact moment. It's a journey, not like like the more you try to like make it culminate around one single day to define you, is like the more you're going to get stuck and stressed out.
Yeah. Like I don't want to have to be playing at my absolute peak to be able to do that well.
Yeah.
Like I shouldn't rely on the day going absolutely perfect. I get every matchup like that I want, and my opponent happens to play bad. Like I don't want to like need all those factors. And there is the chance I could very well win the tournament. I think it's only fair to myself to let myself feel like I can I can achieve that, but I'm also, it's just expectation. If I expect anything, if I'm expecting to get out of pools because I was PR'd, I'm really good, I'm like that good of a player, like I'm setting myself up for failure. Straight up.
Yeah.
It can happen to anybody.
Nah, you know you made it when you just show up, like you just like show up to play, because that's just what you do. You show up to play, and that's enough to like get you the win, right?
Yeah.
I don't know about you, but as someone who grew up in the generation where I got to watch the grand pleasure of getting to watch Armada play Melee, the knowing that like it's possible, like humanly achievable for a guy to just show up to every single tournament for 10 years, about 10 years,
Yeah.
and know for a fact that there is only 5 people in the entire world that have a chance at getting it.
That is crazy.
Right? Like there is so much like to aspire to and want to be. That's what I like if I ever got to that point, that's when I know I've done it. You know, right?
Yeah.
Like and that's like it's not just being the best player in the world at that point. It's not even close.
Yeah.
Like there's 5 people in the entire world that have a chance. I think they all had negative records on them lifetime. I think maybe Mango like was positive, but like it's just like not even a chance that anyone else gets me for 10 years, right? Like whatever you like. To me, if that's like my goal is to like to be like the greatest to ever do it, which a lot of us are, then like wherever I am now is just like I got so much more to work on to be focusing on how I performed this one time at this one time.
Yeah. I can't even top 8 a major.
Yeah,
How am
that's
I
what I'm
gonna
saying.
do that?
This guy can't not top 8 a major. Like, think about that. Armada could not top 8 a major.
Facts.
Like,
I think
we got place things to work on.
this is by no means anything negative about Melee. I think there was a lot higher of a skill ceiling, and the skill floor was like, I mean, it's just a different game. But I don't think it's impossible in Ultimate.
No.
Like, I think Sonics and I just
Akola's well on his way to doing this, by the way.
yeah, it's just so hard
Akola,
because like
yeah,
there's a Steve factor, but
there's a speed factor, but
you know, I mean,
even at the end of the day, like Armada played Fox, like like I mean, like not like Fox is necessarily as broken in the context of Melee as Steve is in the context of Ultimate,
yeah,
but like,
yeah,
like just like Akola's still never gotten lower than a single digit in all of his offline tournaments. Even his online tournaments, I don't think he's ever gotten lower than a single digit.
mm-hmm.
Which there's like some inhumane amount of talent probably going on in that, but like like the fact that he's at that point now, that's something that you can reach, right? Like
Yeah.
we know for a fact that is humanly possible in the game that we're currently playing. There's no excuse for us to be like, as players, be getting anything lower than 9. We all like that. We know that is a humanly achievable amount of consistency.
Mm-hmm.
And that's like awesome. I love like seeing what like the peak human condition can do with like how it can bring out of a game.
Mia, he's literally
Mia right now
peak humanity in Smash.
He's had a couple double-digit placings though, so it's like over for him.
I think current Mia though.
Yeah, current Mia is
in a bubble. Mia right now.
The framework of every tournament outside of like post Genesis, because I think Genesis he got like 13th or something.
Yeah. No, I remember the first time he came to the US, he went to it was like Apex. It was pretty much like a regional. And I'm like
dumpstered everybody.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, it's a Japanese Game & Watch. He's probably really good. He literally did not even come close to losing. I think he didn't even lose a game that entire tournament.
It looked as bad as it was.
Yeah. I think Syrup did well there, and that was the tournament that the Mega Man from Philly. Who is that? MPG.
Oh, MPG, yeah.
Yeah, they I think that was the top 3, maybe. But
Tamago, the one thing he experienced traveling for a tournament is the traveling alone. I do agree. I think and I think there's a real reason for that. I think it's connected to the like amount of like pressure you're performing to like putting on yourself. When you bring other people to a tournament, your time at the tournament is now not just about how you place, it is about the experience you have with other people. Whereas if you go alone, it's really, really difficult to separate how the trip goes to how you place. Right? Like you go alone to a tournament, like the one thing that matters to you all weekend is going to be how you place at a tournament. But you go with other people, it's still a great weekend, even if it goes shit if you have a good time with your friends, you know?
I actually don't feel the same, personally.
You don't feel the same. Interesting. Okay, well, what you got?
I guess if I thought about it that way, it probably would be different. If I go alone, I'm just like so locked in that like I know that if I lose, it's like I can still practice and stuff. But if I have friends with me, then I'm like, oh well, they're watching and like I have to win.
Okay. So you have like a different type of external pressure, like
yeah. But it's also different in other ways too. Like I definitely have more fun, but there are times where like I'll see a friend or something, they're watching my set, and I'm like, yeah, like I'm gonna win, and then I don't win, and I'm like, oh. And it just like, I mean, it hasn't happened in a while, but
yeah,
I definitely enjoy going to tournaments alone sometimes, but as long as I'm not like, I don't know, like I like having friends there, but
I think it's I'm glad we have your perspective on here because that's like definitely me speaking from my experience. I don't think I've ever had a good tournament alone. I think I've like had locals that I won when I go on my own stuff, stuff like that. But like I don't think I've had like a regional I went to that went particularly well for me, and like none of my friends were there. Or even like a major or something like that. Which I mean, to be fair, I can't remember the last regional I went to without friends. There, so that could be part of it. I think it was like Ludwig's. Actually, I think Ludwig's is probably the only time I went to a tournament like alone. And that tournament went like decently for me. I got like I beat Jazzo. That was like the highlight of my Ludwig's Invitational.
Yeah.
And I lost to like Ouch and Big D, which are like incredible players. And Big D then proceeded to beat 3 out of the top 10 players in the world the next day. After knocking me out for 17th in the last chance qualifier.
Oh my gosh.
But just had to mention that. Hi Shu, how are we doing? Yeah, so like I think some people put the external pressure of like their friends around. I also think there's probably something real to I will say when I was at Ludwig's, finding time to practice was so easy,
Hmm.
right? Like, I mean, I don't necessarily even think that like slamming my face into like the game the day before a tournament is necessarily like super positively impactful on my tournament's results anyways, but I do
Hmm.
think I got a lot more um knowledge and skill. Like I improved a lot from Ludwig's, probably significantly more than I do most tournaments I go to with friends, because I was able to find time to grind with a lot of the best players in the world there.
Hmm.
Because I just like I got to sit down on a setup for like 4 hours with like the Buzz, and then I go sit on a setup with 4 hours with like Peanut or something, and I go
Yeah.
sit on a setup with like a bunch of the other like really really good players I not don't get a chance to. Whereas like if your friends are there, especially if your like friends are also not like similarly able to grind, then yeah, you're probably gonna miss a lot of opportunities to improve in that sense.
Yeah.
So it's not always, but like I don't know. I definitely like think for me at least, I get a lot of pressure taken off just knowing that like my weekend isn't all about me and how I place this weekend,
Yeah.
and
True.
that makes it easier for me to like uh play my sets knowing that like with less stress on me.
Yeah. I think for me there was like a development where like back then I kind of did care about placing more than anything, but lately I guess it is more similar to like your experience where like if I'm with you, I think or with Jeff or anyone, like I'll like ask a ton of questions or like I almost like vent in a way, but more like not as
Yeah,
emotionally, but more like to learn. It's like I am
yeah,
interested in learning, so there's like that makes it easier to like enjoy the rest of the time too. Just like having people there with you, get the emotion out, then hang out. So like that definitely makes it better. But
it's cool that we're all like me, you, and Jeff all have like very similar experiences. Like
mhm.
to like uh, not like the be like it's like no one can understand the top player struggle or something like that. But it's like cool to like be able to vent to someone else about like some problem that like knowing that they actually like fully understand it and have probably been in the position before, right?
Yeah,
Um, like a lot of people don't like you don't know that pressure of like performing like in a top eight until like you've been there. It's just not really like
yeah,
something that you can experience in any other way, and that's like a cool thing. It's like that like thrill and stuff is like part of why you compete, but also that like crushing disappointment and stuff. It's not the
yeah,
same. Like
yeah.
and so like it's good to have other people there with you that have also experienced that. Um,
I definitely think having close friends to share successes and like not good things, I guess.
there was a wording that Wolf used to describe that. Pokemon does these things whenever you watch like a Pokemon regional where they like interview like certain players and they just like talk about like some tournament that they recently won. They only do it for like recent tournament winners or something like that. And
Hmm.
I think like he loves like tournaments because he loves going with friends so he can like celebrate their victories. And I think he's used the commiserate in their losses. Like,
Hmm.
and I don't know exactly what the verb means, but I also know exactly what the verb means. Like, I know like it's like the ability to like be there and like share some of the pain with them. Right?
Yeah,
Like it's not just like listening; it's like being able to share. Like it's not just like hurt for you; it's like hurt for me too. I wanted to see you go far, and that's like
yeah.
we're gonna help each other get through this.
I think
Um,
that is something that I've never been able to like encapsulate because being someone who like I've completely switched to like wanting to learn. I am very disappointed when I lose. Like that's no surprise. But
mhm.
like that is such a huge part in like being able to maintain a mentality like this. Like I've held a lot of L's in the last couple years. And I know I
So many
probably could have
times.
done better if, something else went right or if I switched characters or something, but I don't really care cuz we're getting better.
You woke up at a certain time, or were able to fall asleep at a certain time, or
Yeah.
you
I
didn't
mean,
get a headache. For me, it's the headaches, dude. I can't escape
I could not
them.
imagine. I don't think I've like it's very rare that I have a headache in tournament, but I just could
I get
not
them.
imagine. I would probably just DQ and leave.
I get them so often. They're so bad. I like want to like get some sort of like serious medical help. I wish I had like the money to like get more like science into this because it's like very, very bad and very, very regular.
Yeah.
But I also think it's like interesting. Like, why is it that I have so much like I like get migraines like so often, even if I play like video games the same amount of time on other weekends,
Hmm.
they'll like come back to me for tournaments.
Yeah.
It's probably something to do with stress to a certain extent.
Yeah.
Uh,
I think it's like everyone has their own personal like struggles and stuff, but it's hard to like accept that like if it's a temporary problem that went wrong, or if it's something like health related that you literally can't control, at the end of the day, like you just have to hold that. And I think
yeah,
that is just like that's like a you like almost mature from it too though. Like
it's not my opponent's problem.
yeah, yeah. Like at first you're like, oh, like that wasn't fair. And then like, as it happens or you see it happen to other people, you're kind of like that's just kind of how life is. So like
Yeah, our wounded egos want to lash out so badly,
yeah.
but like,
But once you accept it, you can like be the best you are in that moment. I think that's an important thing. That's like an important lesson to keep in mind.
you're an emotional player. As like, so you think part of the, so she's saying enjoy parts of it you guys mentioned. Yeah, so like, are you like, do you think like being like an emotional player, like you don't like want your friends to like see you after a loss sometimes or something like that? Uh, is that like part of why, or like maybe you feel like you just like bring down the mood after events? Because I definitely like, yeah, I got you. Okay, I actually understand that like completely. It's like really hard for me sometimes. I'm like not an emotional player, but I am. Like to this day, I've like never popped off, and it's not because I think I'm too cool to pop off. It's just like that's just not how I like express myself. Like,
Yeah.
I'm just a very like reserved person in general. Like, it's just not something like when I like win a super close, super tight set. I want to just like fall like back in my chair and pass out. I don't want to like jump up and start like running around.
Mhm.
And that's like again nothing against people who pop out. It's just like how like I am in that regard. But like similarly, I don't like raging. I'm like so like I have like way too much fear of embarrassment to like
Yeah.
rage or be like visually upset. And if it was something that I did do, I would certainly like be really, really like if even if it was something like went past like not just like the moment like where it happens, but like the frustration you have to like take out for the rest of like the weekend. If that wasn't something that I could like easily bottle up, then it would be really like I feel really bad hanging around my friends and being at dinner and everyone's having a good time, and I'm just like still thinking about how I ran through that down smash and I missed the boost kick, and like
I feel like
I'm
I
like,
have to be so
right.
annoying if that happened to you and then we go to dinner because I'm not letting you not talk. But
No, but it's a good thing I think when you do that. I actually like appreciate when you do that.
good.
Because I
Because
think
that could
I
be
think it like
annoying.
it's like a forced recovery. Like it like makes me like get over it and just,
Come
like stop
on,
thinking about it.
Steven.
Yeah,
Have
like
some
stop being a
fun.
baby, grow up.
Uh,
uh
when I think of emotion, so there's the after tournament emotions, but the most I've ever felt emotion while playing the game, I always try to keep the lid on it though. When I lost at Riptide last year, it was to Atomic. Like,
yeah, I remember
it was
on
like
stream.
a
Yeah.
good set, but I was so mad at how nervous I was on stage. And it like really, really, really made me mad
Sometimes good sets are the worst ones,
that
Like
I was so
so little
upset.
had so little had to change for you to be able to do that,
Yeah.
right? And that's like
Mhm.
sometimes what's so frustrating about it.
Yeah.
Uh,
So I lost that set and I feel so bad for the people I played. I feel like I was a little like disrespectful, not like blatantly, but like in the game. And then when the set was over, I just kind of like fist bumped and left. But I think Boku. I
the
fought
hero player from Michigan,
Noodle. Yeah, yeah, Noodle, the
yeah,
Wii Fit.
from Chicago, I think.
Yeah, so I just
Yeah,
got really lucky that those were matchups I could just run in and hit buttons. Like I was smashing so much. I was edge guarding every single time, and I just think the pacing switch up was really weird for them or something. But
yeah.
I felt like I was playing out of my mind. So I'm like, this is the best Smash I'm ever playing.
You had that me angry SmashCon run.
Yes, I was mad. And then I got to Ice Knight, and I'm like, I don't know how to fight Greninja.
I
And
think the
then,
lesson the YouTube and Twitch chat's gonna get from this is play mad, guys. Get really
yeah,
upset and then play Smash.
it was like different though. It was kind of like
Yeah, no. There's
like
a difference between
it
there's
was
a
like
difference
redirecting
between
lightning.
Go ahead. Yeah.
It was like redirecting. It was so directed towards my gameplay. Like, I was so mad at myself. That was the difference. I'm not mad at the outcome. I'm mad at myself for not playing. Like, you just know what you've been through.
Yeah. It's a definitely a unique kind of like channeled anger. You can't just like be mad at something going on terrible in your life and then just go and play Fantastic Smash Brothers. In fact,
Yeah.
more often than not, the opposite's going to happen to you. But what you can do is you can channel your frustration with something in the game, and like use that desire for like change that like thing that caused you frustration, and that becomes a very powerful motivator to play some really good Smash. And like I think like because what caused me to play very like being losers was this like DQ that I felt very unjustified at like that SmashCon. That's why I performed so like well in losers, because all of my stress on performing was gone, and I was just like, I'm so much better than all these people. I had no business like being down here. I'm gonna like prove something, you know. And that worked out really well for me. But like I haven't played well every single time I've been bad. The hardest match of the tournament is your first losers match. I actually completely agree. I actually have always said something is that like the longer a losers run, the more dangerous I am to win the tournament. If someone does not get me in my first 3 sets, I'm going to be a problem. Like I think like that's like the number. Like if I get 3 sets in losers and I win those 3 sets, and I have an increasing likelihood of winning each set, like going on past that. Like so often I lose and I lose again immediately. But if you let me lose, like I've almost never won a tournament from losing in winners semis. That's really hard for me. But I've won so many tournaments losing before top 8. Like if I lose before top 8, I go on some runs. Whereas if I lose in winter semis, a lot of times I just like lose a lot of steam, and then I play someone really good who made it to losers quarters, and then I lose there. But if I lost in like earlier than that, and I get someone who's a little easier for me to beat at a lower level, I get so much time to start building momentum that I get really dangerous. I'm glad you brought that up. It's like something very relatable to me. You're like a perfectionist towards your gameplay, Tamago. I think that's actually a very Zero Suit thing. I think perfection is a requirement to the character, so it is something that we get more frustrated when we are not able to achieve. Like Zero Suit is just straight up like, and obviously, you know, like this is the Zero Suit like house. We all love talking about how like amazing and beautiful and talented we all are, which we are, for playing Zero Suit.
Exactly.
But like Zero Suit is just such a precise character. We don't get to be kind of right and still right. You need to be exactly right. Our hitboxes are not generous enough for being kind of right. Like our combos are all too tight to be like slightly off, right? And so we're all like naturally perfectionists, because if we were perfectionists, we wouldn't be sticking around with this character. We like being perfect, and this is a character that rewards perfection, but she punishes everything else. And so that's like I think that's just like you're not alone at all in that. I'm an extreme perfectionist towards my gameplay, and I think most of us are.
I think that mindset too is kind of like we've had a lot of discussions where it's like a double-edged sword, where I thought of things very objectively, and when you think of it that way, you're setting yourself up to like almost fail, I guess. Because, like, nothing is going to always go according to plan. Unless it does, then, like, your round 1 pools, I guess. Every combo works. They give you every air dodge you want. But you can't react to everything. And being able to accept the information for what it is, that's something I'm actively working on. So I think it's a very relevant thing.
I think it's, like, a perfect game of Smash doesn't mean you JV4 them, you know? A lot of times, like especially at a high level, like you have to get hit in order to get useful information to keep going into the match, or something like that, right? Like and like perfect Smash is a lot of people like always have results based inputs on like what they think like good Smash for them is, and it's always directly correlated to how they performed in that day, like number wise, like some kind of result. But perfect gameplay in Smash is not always necessarily like reflective in a placement or how much percent you took or something like that. I mean,
Mm.
obviously, like perfect smash, you win the tournament, but like good smash or like good smash for you, or something like that doesn't necessarily mean you won the tournament. It is something that needs to be looked at with a lot more context because Smash isn't just like super simple. Like I like to describe like characters as like extensions of my body. And like this is a game where I'm fighting someone else's like limbs. I'm fighting a human hand. And there is so much like sophistication in how humans think. And it's just like humans are just like too interesting to be like brought down into objective like answers and solutions, and the situations that we create aren't going to have as many objective answers, and so being able to adjust for context is really really important whenever you look at interactions.
Other people's limbs just happen to be the embodiment of Chernobyl.
Unfortunately, some of their limbs are Steve back here.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm going to have to get going in a second. I got a Pokemon tournament that I'm going to. I think the long chill out story was I was also at a Pokemon tournament. That's why I was there. I wasn't just driving Emma. I was like at a Pokemon tournament, and I won that Pokemon tournament, which is cool. But this time I'm gonna be at a Pokemon tournament with like a bunch of like mostly casuals. It's gonna be run by someone who's not a casual, and I think there's gonna be one other not casual there. And it's more of like a fun thing for like him and his friends to be doing before he goes off to Pokemon Worlds. Because this particular friend is going to Worlds this year. I'll be very excited to see him play. But yeah, so I'm going to be going to that. It's going to be a fun thing. I'm not allowed to bring a good team, so I'm running something really super gimmicky. And we're going to see how that goes. But I'll need to be going with that in a second. And I think that means that we're going to be wrapping this up.
Is there a stream for it?
I think there might be.
Yeah.
If there is a stream for it, I'll link it. I do not have it at the moment. Sorry, chat. But check my Twitter. Keep updated tonight, and I'll let you all know how it goes. I'll be using some very funny teams. Like this is stuff that you can appreciate if you're a Pokemon casual. Everyone loves some of the stuff that I'm doing, I think.
Yes.
Uh,
Low key, when you're here, we could even run something. Make some form of content.
I'll make some kind of teams for you guys. Get you all playing.
That'd be awesome.
Maybe Alex makes me play the Pokemon card game again. I'm like 10 years outside of what was meta.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, but I thought today was like really productive. We didn't really get too in depth into like specific practice or like. I think we covered most of everything though.
We always think we don't have enough to talk about, and then talk way less about all the things we do want to talk about.
Yeah, exactly.
There's a lot to say.
Not a lot of relevant things. And I think getting this stuff from like people with experience, like there's people with different experiences that know things that we don't, can handle different situations better. So I love talking about this, and I know I learned something today. So very productive episode.
Given that Shu's in her chat, we can't host her again unless she's going live any second now. So who are we planning on hosting? Also, Shu, we are going to get you on this podcast, but we would absolutely love to have you.
Yes.
Yes. I love like this is like obviously like we like the minds of Zero Suit players here, and I think you have great perspectives that we love to hear from you. Not even just like a one-time thing.
I don't think we really understand your perspective either, so I think it'd be really fun for both of us to
pick
your brain a little bit.
We got to get some non-Ohio brains in here. Like Ohio's done like irreversible damage to us, so
I was thinking about rating Send because he's the only one I follow that's like live right now. But
hey, you know him, he's a nice guy.
Yeah. Thank you guys for being here. And for all the subs, all the follows. Legis 3, is that how you say it? Lammers,
that train we had going for a bit was so sick.
RTS Rat, thank you guys. I really appreciate it. And Matt, Legacy, Pablo, thank you guys. You guys are goats.
Yeah. Abe sent the 5, right?
Yes,
5
Abe with the 5. The banger.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're my hero.
Thanks
bro.
so much, guys.
Let's.
We're gonna buy so many gumballs.
Yes, dude. I'm gonna have a gumball machine in my room next week.
It's gonna be like behind it.
Even though I don't get paid for like another month. That's just how it goes. But again,
the bills come in.
Thank you all. We'll send you.